Hi, everyone. My name is Rui. I'm your show host of the Music Success Show, and I have another guest today. She's a 20-year-old singer-songwriter from New York who has been performing since she was 4 years old. Her songs have traces of pop, folk, and punk. Her new music single, Wishful Drinking, was just released now on November 26th and is available on all streaming services. She considers herself to be the girl next door trying to get her shit together. She's going to explain that out for us. And yeah, welcome to the show, Aria Liza. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. So, can you tell us a little bit about how did you started in music, and why did you decide to take this career, which is not easy, right?
Yeah. Oh no, it's certainly not easy. I mean, I'm finding that out as I get more into it. But it's definitely very worthwhile, in my opinion, at least. Yeah. How did I get into music? I feel like I don't really have a solid answer for that. Also, I'm sorry I sound really congested. I have a cold right now. I feel like I sound like a 5-year-old boy, but
Hey, I won't
I
catch it.
just what'd you say?
I won't catch it from here.
Oh yeah. I mean, we never know nowadays. You could theoretically. But yeah, with music, I never really like didn't do music. I've been singing since I was a kid. My parents tell me all the time little stories of when I was like before I could speak, I was singing. I was dancing around the house. I was putting on little terrible shows as like a 3-year-old just around the house. I feel so bad for my parents. They're probably so over it. But they've been super supportive and they're both really musical themselves. My mom actually writes a lot of the songs with me and she produces them as well. So, really just really grateful to be in a household that music has been such a strong presence ever since I was a little baby. Um, but yeah, so I grew up as like a theater kid, like a super annoying theater kid. And I wanted to do musical theater. That was my dream. I wanted to be on Broadway. So I went to college, studied musical theater, trained really hard in that. And my senior year of college, I was like, it was COVID hit during my junior year, but senior year was the peak of it, 2019, 2020. And theater is so hard to do with the guidelines and keeping everybody safe, which is really important because art is all about protecting humanity and loving each other and be empathetic, so you can't do that and also spread it. I understand it was just really frustrating from our perspective because we really couldn't do anything. And I took a composition class in music and I was like, this is really cool because I can do all this myself. Like, I just got GarageBand on my laptop. I moved up now to Logic, learning how to use the DAWs, talking to people on the phone, having conversations like this with other musicians and, podcast people like that, and just really kind of networking as much as I can. But you can do that all from a laptop. Obviously, I'd much rather be seeing you face to face, and I'm sure you would too, but it's possible. So I really got into that literally just out of practicality of what I could do at the time. And then, things are opening up now, especially New York's pretty open. You just have to have a vaccine card. Um, so now that it's open again, I haven't wanted to go back to musical theater. I've been so in this composition world that I kind of stuck with it and I fell in love with it.
Awesome. And what were your backgrounds? I mean, what are the people, artists or singers or songwriters that influenced you as you were growing up and develop your artistic flow?
Yeah. Well, my parents are super big classic rock people. So grew up with like the Beatles, the Stones, like all ELO, all the good ones from like the 60s through the 90s, basically. Grew up just listening to that. That was dinner music. We didn't have like any classical or like definitely not silence. We always had music on the house, but it was always like classic rock. Joan Jett is a big influence. I love her. I feel like a lot of my music is more on the balladier side, so like kind of Adele, Taylor Swift kind of vibes, but I also try to infuse it with a little bit of edge, a little bit of rock edge, so kind of drawing from the modern influences and then also like the music that my parents and I would listen to growing up.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I mean, this it must be a big thing to be in an environment where your parents are also musicians and also support your craft and living in that environment must be really cool. Now, you consider yourself to be the girl, the next the girl next door trying to get her shit together. What do you mean by that? So I understand. Or people.
I mean by that is I try to be honest in my music. Like I try to like share as much as myself as I can in a 3-minute song. And I feel like life, especially now, life is hard. And like I'm very grateful that I've had such a supportive life, but there have been everyone has stuff they go through. And regardless of the scale or anything like that, it is hard, and sometimes you're reminded of it. And that's, to me, is the point of music, is to kind of like grieve and grow through that. And that's what I attempt to do through my music, is like get my fucking shit. Sorry, I'm cursing, but get everything together and be open about not having it together when you don't, because I think it was a Demi Lovato song. It was like, it's okay not to be okay. Like, let's just normalize like talking about stuff like that, because there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's just part of life, and you move on and you grow from it.
Absolutely. You just released a new single, "Wishful Drinking." Do you want to
I
tell?
did.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that and
Yeah,
where?
that one came out Friday. We did that on purpose because I was actually born on Thanksgiving. So my birthday was Thursday,
Happy birthday.
and thank you, thank you. Um, so yeah, we wanted it to come out like Thursday at midnight, so that would technically be Friday. Um, and yeah, this one was cool. This one was a little different than anything I've ever done, which I like. I like to always kind of challenge myself and see what people like, see what people don't, see what I personally like. You never really know until you release it, like how you truly feel about it. Because when you're producing or when you're writing, there's so many different versions of the song that can happen. Like you can add this instrumentation, or give it more of a dancey vibe, or make it more of a stripped down ballad with just a piano. So there's always so many different directions you can go with a song, and then like locking it in and releasing it. It's scary, but that's actually really cool, because once it's out there, you have time to like process it and like give yourself feedback, which I always try to do it after every song. I don't just like passively listen. I always try to like actively listen and pretend I didn't write it, pretend I'm not the one singing it, and just like objectively give myself criticism, give myself compliments, try to see how I can grow for the next song.
Awesome. Now you seem to be really keen on live performing, right? You have a couple of shows coming up. You want to tell us about
Yes,
that?
I do. Yeah, so I just had one last week in the city. Next one coming up is December 6th. It's a Monday. This one's for charity, so anyone on Long Island, if you want to come, just bring a toy. It's for Toys for Tots. That's at Amityville Music Hall, December 6th at 6 p.m. It starts. Music goes all night, though. And yeah, and then I'm taking a bit of a break from live performances, just because my November was like every weekend I was gigging. And I'm actually making a music video. So December is going to be the music video. Hopefully that'll be coming out early January. And then end of January, January 26th, I'm playing at Bowery Electric. Again, New York City people, if you want to come, at the Map Room. So that'll be really fun.
Awesome.
I'm
Now,
excited. I live for live performances. That's the part I like
yeah,
the most, I'd say. Yeah.
that's fantastic. Do you like what's? I mean, you're pretty young, but I mean, what has been the biggest challenge so far that you have encountered in your life or in the music industry as you progress through your career?
Yeah, I think honestly, and I say this without any resentment, it is it being a young girl in this industry is very hard. Um it is. And I'm not trying to like use that as an excuse or anything, but it is hard um to feel that when you walk in a room sometimes you are just not respected. Um and I'm not the kind of person to have to demand that. I'm not really a confrontational, aggressive person who walks in a room and is like, "Give me the attention." I just, I'll just sit there and take it, which is not good, and I'm working on that. And I have a team behind me that's trying to work on that too. But just it is harder, and I do really want to give a shout out to all the females in the industry who have made it, because it's just got to be so much harder to like not get that respect just going into it.
Yeah, and on top of that, you're young as well. So you're a female and you're young. So I'm sure it's not easy for you to have to deal with that kind of
Right.
attitude or behavior. Do you feel that you, at some point, you had some kind of breakthrough moment that things started to move for you? Does that happen so far?
Yeah, after I think after my first live, because unfortunately I turned 21 during COVID. So the places that you can play as an under 21-year-old are very limited because most music venues also serve alcohol and are bar settings or restaurants that serve alcohol. And you can't, they don't want a 17-year-old playing at their restaurant if it's a bar. So I kind of had to wait until I was 21 to play like the bigger venues in New York City. Um, but then COVID hit, so then I had to wait another year basically before everything opened up. But in August, I played a show with Breaking Sound New York City. I love them. They're an incredible account for indie artists. They're basically like a showcase talent agency, and they like put on different shows and book different artists. And I've had nothing but the best experiences with everyone there. So thank you, Breaking Sound. But it was my first show at Berlin Under A in the city, Lower East Side, and people were like singing my music back with me. Like they knew my words, and I've never had that before because I'm like in indie, it's such a like an incredible feeling when like a song that you wrote like in your bedroom, other people I didn't even know, like they weren't even there for me, they were there for the other artists that night, and I was like, this, like it was honestly so eye opening for me that like this is something that maybe if I try hard enough and if I'm lucky, like I might be able to do this, you know.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. That was awesome.
Yeah, and so people know she's doing a great job. I mean, first of all, you're pretty young. I've actually watched your videos on YouTube, and you are one of the persons that actually came here on the show. Has you set up a space. There's no noise, great sound, and you know how to promote yourself, which is pretty impressive for somebody who's so young. Now, do you like what's your creative process? I mean, how do you create? Do you go to YouTube and listen to music? Do you go to GarageBand and put some loops? How do you do it?
Yeah, so I'm super old fashioned. Pen and paper, no distractions. I have to have my phone in the other room. But I get in trouble with that because then I want to voice memo myself.
Hmm.
So I tend to like put my phone on airplane mode or like completely turn it off and grab another electronic where I can just all I want is the ability to record. I don't want to be able to talk to anyone or mindlessly scroll through Instagram. Like I need to be very focused.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about me when I'm writing, like I don't honestly really have a process. Like I don't have to have like a cup of coffee in my hand or like music on in the background. I write if I don't write a song in 20 minutes, the song's not getting done.
Hmm.
Like I write and everything comes to me at once. Lyrics, it usually goes lyrics and melody at the same time. I'll record that. That'll take like 15 minutes and then I'll do chords on the piano. Then I'll hop to the piano and try to come out with chords. Then a few days later, if I still like what I did, I'll then go to GarageBand and try to make it a thing, not just like an idea of a song, it'll become a song. And then work with producers and, then is the whole shebang. But in terms of writing, it's honestly very chaotic because in those first 15 minutes, I'm like, everything's shouting at once. And I'm like, like it's just, it doesn't feel like I'm writing it. It feels like it's just coming to me, which is really hippy dippy. But I mean, that's what it feels like. It feels like it's like pouring into me and I'm just writing it down as fast as I can.
So I understand you write down the lyrics and you start writing the music. And do you use like the phone, like the memo recording audio, or you just
Yeah, I usually do. I like to write it down first because I'll remember the melody more than I'll remember the lyrics.
right.
I grew up as like a violin player and like a classical singer, so for me the music is like the easier part rather than the lyric writing part. So I'll do that. I always write my lyrics on paper. Like I can't do like the notes, your notes app where people can write. I can't do it. I need to see it in my own writing,
Right.
which is weird, but it works. So gonna keep going with it. Yeah, and then I voice memo it.
Awesome. You also have your music in all the platforms. Like, do you have? Did your parents help you with that, or did you have somebody that helped you with the business side to set up the way you operate? Explain to us what is your music business model? How do you work it out?
Yeah, well, still figuring that out. My goal is to like get a record label. That's my goal. To to kind of, I think that that's the next step in moving forward, to kind of expand my team. Right now, I have a manager, Beth, and she's doing an incredible job helping me. I use a distributor to put all my music on streaming services. I'm learning what I can from just the other. I have a lot of friends that are musicians that are also doing this with me, so we all help each other out, and I think that's super important. And with the internet, it makes it so much easier. Like I follow TikTok accounts that are like music marketing, and some of them are scams. So you do kind of have to go through that. But
Right.
once you have the tools on how to smartly kind of decipher which one is scam, which one's a person genuinely trying to help you out, it makes life so much easier to just because you one person can't possibly know everything. So it's really nice to have like a collection of. I feel like New York City musicians are also one of a kind where it's like a family almost. Like I know a lot of people, and I've been in this game for almost only a year, so I've already feel like I'm welcomed into the family, and I really appreciate that because it is hard, and it's all about helping each other out and just growing together. Honestly.
Cool. And what is the distributor that you use?
It's called DistroKid.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it just puts my music up there. It's great.
Yeah.
It's not a scam. It's very, very trustworthy, very reliable.
Are you like also with ASCAP or BMI? Did you set up the publishing?
I'm not. I'm not yet. I'm considering that as the next step. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, what's the best advice you ever received so far in this industry?
Ooh, that's a fun question. Let me think. I gotta think about that for a second.
Sure.
I received so much advice. I think. Hmm, I think just the simple line that my mom told me once was, "You don't have to put on a show, just sing."
Hmm.
She said that to me almost before every performance because I get nervous. I freak out a little bit. Everyone does. I only get nervous because I care so much. So I'm like, I want this to be a great show. I want to love the music. And then she told me, don't put on a show. Just sing. Just be yourself. Just sing like you're singing in your bedroom.
Yeah, and that's pretty good advice,
Yeah.
and it works too. I mean, I know you just in this game for a year now, but how do you see the music? What's your viewpoint on the music industry today?
The music industry, I feel like it gets a lot of hate. The word industry to me just has a negative connotation. It almost sounds like the pharmaceutical industry, like how insurance companies rip everybody off. I feel like music itself it's very hard to like talk about money and financial profit off of it because it is something that the people who create it, it's their lives, it's their livelihood, it's not just their income, it's their passion and their love. And music just it's not a product, it's something greater than that. And it's but at the same time it is a product because you have to make money. I mean, this is my job, right? This is your job, this is everybody else, Nicki Minaj, every Taylor's job, it's everybody's job. So
Right.
you have to find a way to monetize it and commercialize it. But I think that that's where we run into issues is it's not fundamentally the music itself, it's the people who might not have the best intentions managing artists or managing agencies that essentially manage artists, um, and just not having music at the forefront of that
Or
is
record companies?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And but they're doing great work to publicize and to keep music going. I mean, music is it's never going out of style, right? It's not like a product that you have to replace your computer and you have to go get new kind of music. Like it doesn't work like that. So they're doing a great job with that. I mean, going back to what I was saying before, I think all the female artists in this industry right now are incredibly talented. I think they're all amazing singers too. Like Doja Cat, Ariana Grande, they are so. Not only are their songs poppy and catchy, and can they dance, and they're pretty, and they can put on a good show. Their lyrics are really like insightful and deep, and in a pop song you don't always hear that. And I think also just how well trained their voices are, you can really kind of hear just how talented they are. And I just appreciate that that's getting recognized because everyone always complains. There's always a few new artists that just aren't super talented, and you can tell that they're there because their family has connections, or they're really hot, or they pay. There are a few artists like that, and I think that most of the ones that we see consistently are really just genuinely talented and deserve to be there.
Yeah, I mean there's pretty good talent out there. They also have a lot of people behind writing those songs and
Mhm.
production, and also
Right.
singing coaches. So it's really a team. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
it's not.
Picture village, yeah.
Yeah, and it works. I mean, in the case of Ariana Grande, I mean, she's amazing. She's unbelievable. She has such a great voice, right? And great songs. Now, what's your favorite music tool that you use? Like, what would you consider your favorite music tool?
Oh, I mean, I'm not super I'm gonna say a pencil, like, I'm not gonna lie, I think just writing sometimes because like, I'll draw, sometimes, I'm a terrible artist, like, painting artist, so, like, my drawings are, like, stick figures or, like, little stars or flowers, but for me, it, like, gives out an aesthetic of the song or, like, helps me process, like, a mood I'm having or an experience or something, and then that can sometimes lead to a song, um but I really like just, like, the experience. It's really fun. I feel like I'm, like, in a little castle, like, writing. I don't know, it feels great. It's so rewarding to just hear the pen hit the paper and feel it, like, writing.
It works for you. That's
It
good.
works. Yeah.
Yeah. Top album of all times.
Oh, oh my gosh. I think Help.
Help.
Yeah. I think wait, is that the name? What is this is embarrassing.
Who's
No, it is the name. Yeah, Help, the Beatles, right? That's an album? Or
uh,
am I
help
let's
is a song.
let's fact check that.
No,
It's the red one with the I'm fact checking myself. One second.
I also don't know, to be honest.
Help the Beatles. It's an album, right? I know the song. I'm not talking about the song. I'm talking about the album. Yeah, it's an album.
It's an album. Okay,
Yeah, it is.
cool.
Thank gosh. Woo.
So would be help, right? Is that like your parents would play it in the house, and that's how you?
Yeah, yeah, well, honestly, all the Beatles albums, that's why I was blanking on the name because I mean, Sergeant Pepper, we listen to all of them. I like the songs from Help a little bit better, but, yeah, basically anything Beatles. I really like Folklore too. I
Mhm.
think Folklore was, like, the pinnacle of really good songwriting. It had such, like, a Bob Dylan vibe in a really cool feminine way, which I liked. It was all about, like, the storytelling, not, like, about Taylor's a singer and this is excellent, production, and we have millions of dollars to do this album. It was very stripped down, very, like, um really just about the aesthetic and the creating a world for the song and the characters that she was portraying, which is cool because I'm still a theater geek at heart, so I like when stories or when songs have characters that aren't just like people. Like it's not like Ariana Grande singing the song. It's like she's singing about this character, or she herself is becoming a character.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Now, let's play a game. Let's say you're going to a new planet, right? And
Oh no.
and you can only take three things with you. What would that be?
Oh, I would take a jar of peanut butter. I love peanut butter. Probably like a huge jar because if I'm going to another planet, we don't know when I'll be back. I would take something like an iPod. I don't want my phone. I probably won't have signal, but I'll
Oh,
take an iPod and like headphones that I could just listen to music.
okay. Cool.
And I'll also take like a pen and paper.
Awesome.
I definitely did. That was more like 5 things, but it's okay.
We'll group it
We'll bounce over that.
in a bundle. Okay. What is music success for you in your life?
Hmm. I think honestly, I decided so being very open, I was also an econ major in college. Um, and I'm pretty not to toot my own horn, but I was salutatorian in my high school. I'm like I am book smart basically. Street smart, not so much. But that's alright. But so I decided a while ago that I wasn't gonna care about money, that I wasn't gonna be in this for the money.
Mhm.
I wasn't gonna be in it for making it per se. That's what I mean by money. I mean, I don't feel that I don't deserve to be compensated. I mean that I don't wanna be like, if I don't make $1,000,000 and become the next Taylor Swift by August, I'm done. Like,
Mhm.
that's not conducive to art. That's not gonna help me write better songs. It's not gonna help me reach more people. It's not gonna help me feel good about the art that I'm creating and sharing. And like, it's hard sometimes to write about experiences that you've been through and even the happy ones because you feel like you're sharing that and then it puts you in a vulnerable position either way. Um so I think music success for me is just honoring that, and it's hard because I put pressure on myself as everyone does to try to be the best that they can be. But for me, I made a decision that's not going to be defined by anyone else's success. So I don't have to be the next Taylor Swift. I don't have to be the next Ariana Grande. I can be Eliza, and if that means singing songs in my bedroom, that's what that means. And I'm very privileged that I can say that and I have the support to say that. But I'm so grateful for that and I know that and I'm trying to honor that for myself and give myself a break when I can.
I realize it. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure to
Yeah,
have you here. What,
thank you so
what's,
much for having me.
you're welcome. What's the best way so people can connect with you? Where they can.
I, I'm on Instagram frequently. I like to make little funny harmony videos there. I post some clips of my song. If you want to go stream Wishful Drinking, it's my newest single, just came out. It's on all streaming services at Eliza. I'm on all social media, but at Eliza Music on Instagram is probably the quickest way to reach me.
Mhm. Okay.
You can also email me,
Yeah.
elizabethmusic@gmail.com.
Very good. To our listeners, you can find all these resources and everything else we've been chatting about today's episode by going to musicsuccess.com and enter Aerializer in the search bar. And this episode, along with all the show notes, will pop right up. Aerializer, thank you so much for being generous with your time. It was really a pleasure.
Oh,
I really wish you the best of luck and a lot of success with your musical career. And I hope you come back one day and tell us about it.
I
And
would love thank you.
you're welcome. And I wanted to say goodbye and remember to everybody that your success is my success, and you should not forget to live your dreams. So until next time, to the next episode, thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.